Well, hello, my YouTube fellas and gals. So today we are on lot 43 on action and suspense. And I have a used bookstore, and you can get in touch with me. Everything will be linked in the description below if you're interested in any of these books. They're nice hardbacks. They're all $3 a piece. The original price on this was $27.95. They're expensive books. So what I do is I read the synopsises, and even if you don't actually want to order a book from me, then whatever gadget you are using, it gives you a resource to come and listen to the books that's out there and pick them out for yourself. So this is book number 1. This is called Black Wind by Clive Cussler. And I like to show the condition that the books are in so that you have an idea of the good condition. This is a 2004 copyright. This is what it's about. In the waning days of World War II, unbeknownst to all but a handful of people, the Japanese tried a last desperate measure. Two submarines were sent to the west coast of the United States. Their cargo, a revolutionary new strain of biological virus, their mission to unleash hell. Neither sub made it to the designated target, but that does not mean they were lost. Someone knows about the subs and what they carried, knows too where they might be, and has an extraordinary plan in mind for the prize inside, a plan that could reshape America and the world as we know it. All that stands in the way are 3 people, a marine biologist named Summer, a marine engineer named Dirk, and their father, Dirk Pitt, the new head of NUMA. Pitt has faced devastating enemies before, has even teamed up with his children to track them down, but never has he encountered such pure evil until now. Filled with a breathtaking suspense and extraordinary imagination, Black Wind is yet further proof that when it comes to adventure writing, nobody beats Clive Cussler. So there you go. Book number 1. Book number 2, we have Without Remorse by Tom Clancy. That's what the book looks like. And it is a 1993 copyright. And this is what it's about. Over the course of 7 novels, Tom Clancy's genius for big, compelling plots and his natural narrative gift have mesmerized tens of millions of readers and established him as one of the preeminent storytellers of our time. Without Remorse, however, goes beyond anything he's ever done. Its hero is John Kelly, a man well familiar to Clancy readers by his codename Mr. Clark, the son of all fears. He hunted down nuclear terrorists. In clear and present danger, he led aerial raids against drug lords and the Cardinal of the Kremlin. He spirited away KGB chiefs' family by a submarine. But nothing will ever be as deadly or ever personal as the danger he must face without remorse. John Kelly, former Navy SEAL and Vietnam veteran, is still getting over the accidental death of his wife 6 months before when he befriends a young woman with a decidedly checkered past. When that past reaches out for her in particularly horrifying fashion, he vows revenge and assembling of all his old skills set out to track down the man responsible before it can happen again. At the same time, the Pentagon is running an operation to rescue a key group of prisoners in North Vietnamese prisoner of war camp. One man they find knows the terrain around the camp better than anyone else they have, a certain former Navy SEAL named John Kelly. Kelly has his own mission. The Pentagon wants him for theirs. Attempting to juggle the two, Kelly, now codenamed Mr. Clark, finds himself confronted by a vast array of enemies, both at home and abroad, men so skilled that the slightest misstep means death, and the fate of a dozen people, including Kelly himself, rests on making sure that misstep never happens. Men aren't born dangerous, they grow dangerous. Then the most dangerous of all, Kelly learns, are the ones you least expect. So this sounds like a good book. That was book number 2. Book number 3, we have The Sea Hunters. True Adventures with Famous Shipwrecks by Clive Cussler. He's got beautiful covers. That's what the book looks like. It is actually a 1996 copyright, and this is a synopsis, which is what the book's about. Whether it's deep diving, climbing mountains, or driving classic automobiles, adventures at the heart of Cussler's life, as Cussler himself writes, providing many readers adventure tales based around devil-may-care character by the name of Dirk Pitt is one chapter of my existence. I'm addicted to the challenge of the search, whether it's for lost shipwrecks, airplanes, steam locomotives, or people. The Sea Hunters, his first nonfiction book, Cussler explores the special world of undersea adventure that inspired and has its fictional parallel in the Dirk Pitt novels. He describes his lifelong love for the sea and ships and how his involvement with the search for John Paul Jones' famous Revolutionary warship, the Bonhomme Richard, led to his establishing the NUMA, National Underwater and Marine Agency Foundation, a nonprofit organization dedicated to the discovery and preservation of historic shipwrecks. For more than 60 shipwrecks Cussler and NUMA volunteers have found, he has chosen the 12 most interesting, whether because of the ship's history, the circumstances of its sinking, or the trouble, frustration, and peril that were encountered while trying to find the sunken wreck. With the same wonderful storytelling that Cussler brings to his novels, he describes his search for ships such as the Union 24 gun for Great Cumberland, sunk during the Civil War by Confederate ironclad CSS Virginia, formerly Merrimack, and the Confederate Hunley, which became the first submarine in history to sink a warship. The U-21, a German U-boat, which during World War I became the first sub to sink a warship and escape, and the American troop transport Leopoldville, which was destroyed by a German submarine on Christmas Eve, 1944, with the huge loss of life, as well as Engine 51, the lost locomotive of Kiowa Creek, which roared off in a storm weakened High Bridge in 1878. The wrecks date as far back as 1840 and span the continental U.S., the Atlantic Ocean, and the North Sea. As does in the Dirk Pitt novels, Cussler opens each story with a creative dramatization of the ship and the way she met her end that brings the story to the present. He describes the immense research and careful preparation so often necessary to find a long-lost ship. This is awesome. For example, he describes the tragic fate of the steamboat Lexington, which burst into flames in the frigid winter of 1840, causing loss of over 150 lives, but sparing Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, who missed the trip only because he arrived at the dock seconds too late. Wow. Our Longfellow, our poet. There's also the odd fate of the steamboat Charleston, which became the warship Zavella, which was so horribly damaged in a terrible Atlantic storm in 1842 that it was abandoned in Galveston, Texas, March, and slowly sank from view. And tracing its location, Clive Cussler finally found it under a parking lot. Wow. This is very interesting. Dramatic, compelling, and personal, Clive Cussler's The Sea Hunters is as exciting and satisfying as the best of Dirk Pitt novels. Wow. That's a powerful packed one. That was number 3. Here's number 4. We have The Teeth of the Tiger by Tom Clancy. That's what the book looks like. It is a 2003 copyright, and this is what it's about. In the brave new world of terrorism, where anybody with a spare AK-47 and knowledge of kitchen chemistry is simply the will to die can become a player, the old rules no longer apply. No matter what new governmental organizations come into being, the only ones that could be truly effective are those that are quick and agile, free of oversight and restrictions, and outside the system. Way outside the system. In a nondescript office building in suburban Maryland, a firm named Henley Associates does a profitable business in stocks, bonds, and international currencies, but its real mission is quite different: to identify and locate terrorist threats and then deal with them in whatever manner necessary. Set up with the knowledge of President John Patrick Ryan, the campus is always on the lookout for a promising new talent. Its recruiters scattered through the armed forces and government agencies, and 3 men are about to cross its radar. The first of them is Dominic Caruso, rookie FBI agent barely a year out of Quantico, His decisive decisions resolve a particularly brutal murder case. The second is the Crusoe's brother Brian, a Marine captain just back from his first combat action in Afghanistan and already a man to watch. And the third is their cousin, a young man named Jack Ryan Jr. Jack has grown up around intrigue as his father rose through the ranks of the CIA and then to the White House. Jack received a life course in the world and the way it works. From agents, statesmen, analysts, Secret Servicemen, and Black Ops specialists such as John Clark and Ding Chavez, he wants to put it all to work now. But when he knocks on the front door of the campus, he finds that nothing has prepared him for what he's about to encounter. For it is indeed a different world out there and in here, and it is about to become a lot more dangerous. Over the course of 12 novels, Tom Clancy's genius for big, compelling plots and natural narrative gift. The New York Times have established him as one of the preeminent storytellers of our time. So there we go. Book number 4. Here is book number 5. This is a book called Standoff by Sandra Brown. This is what the book looks like. And there's a little mark there. And it is definitely aged and is for giant readers. It's got the large text. It's a 2000 copyright. And this is what it's about. When Dallas TV news anchor Teal McCoy stops at a convenience store in a one-horse town of Rojo Flats, she wants to phone her new boyfriend to explain that their vacation plans must be delayed for a breaking news story that's too good to pass up. Sabra Denby, daughter of Fort Worth millionaire, had been kidnapped by fellow student Roddy Davidson, and they're headed her way. The store isn't crowded, just a rugged-looking cowboy, a pair of rough golden-age lovebirds, and 2 surly Mexican men. But as Till hangs up the payphone, a distraught Ronnie bursts in, shouting, "This is a stick-up," when he's joined by a very pregnant Sabra Teal. Knows that the scoop of a lifetime has dropped into her lap, but nobody in the store is exactly who they seem, including the handsome cowboy. And when the runaway teen goes into labor, Till must separate truth from lies in order to get help, get her exclusive, and get out alive. That sounds interesting. Book number 5. Book number 6. We have The Devil's Gate by Clive Cussler and Graham Brown. That's what the book looks like. I have a lot of Cussler books. 2001 copyright, and this is what it's about. A Japanese cargo ship cruises the eastern Atlantic near Azores when it bursts into flames. A gang of pirates speed to take advantage of the disaster, but their boat explodes. What on earth is happening? What does it have to do with the kidnapping of a top scientist from the streets of Geneva, with a defection 60 years ago of a mysterious Russia, with the discovery of an extraordinary underwater graveyard of ships and planes littered across the seafloor? As Austin and Zavella and the rest of the team rush to investigate, they find themselves drawn into the extraordinary ambitions of an African dictator, the creation of a weapon, almost mythical power, and unimaginably audacious plan to extort the world's major nation, the penalty for refusal. The destruction of the world's greatest city, starting with Washington, D.C., filled with high-stakes suspense and balanced invention that are unique to Cussler's Devil Gates, is one of the most thrilling novels yet from the Grand Master of Adventure. So there we go. Number 6. Book number 7. We have another Clive Cussler. And this is with Jack Dubreuil. This is called The Jungle. This is what the book looks like. It is a 2001 copyright. This is what it's about. Juan Cabrillo, the crew of the Oregon, have undergone many hair-raising adventures before, but never quite one like this. Jungles comes in many forms. They are steamy rainforests of the Burmese highlands. There are the lies and the betrayals of the world of covert operations, and there are the dark and twisted thoughts of a man bent on a near-global domination. To pull off their latest mission, Cabrillo and his remarkable men and women must survive them all. A devastating new weapon unleashed in 13th century China, a daring rescue in the snowbound mountains along the Afghanistan-Pakistan border, a woman gone missing in the jungles of northern Thailand and Myanmar, for Carbrillo and company. All of these events will come together, leading to the greatest threat U.S. security and the country has ever known. So there you go. That was book number 7. Book number 8, we have Oakdale Confidential by Anonymous. Oh, this is As Seen on the World Turns. This must be a plot out of a soap opera. So here's the book. It's got some wrinkles, as you can see, because I own a used bookstore. So there's some little wrinklage going on in this one. And this is the 2006 copyright. I always check my books, though, to make sure all the pages are there and all that. So you will get the whole book. This is what it's about. It's a major event in Oakland, a black tie gala honoring the Moran family's 50 years of support for Oakdale's Memorial Hospital. But high spirits are cut short when patron of honor Greg Marin Jr. is delivered in his limo dead on arrival from an apparent heart attack. 3 women in the crowd have reasons for their own to suspect murder. Event organizer Katie Paretsky never understood her boyfriend Mike Kasnoff's reason for not attending the party until now. Wrongly implicated in a crime against the Marins, Mike survived a stiff sentence and has nursed a simmering rage ever since. Maddie Coleman, the teenage sister of the limo driver Henry, knows that her brother owed Marin $30,000. She also knows she couldn't pay him back and had only one recourse for permanently erasing the debt. Cardi Snyder's suspicions are more personal. The wife of police detective Jack Snyder, Cardi was one of Marin's mistresses. In a heated moment, she wanted her shameful past dead and buried, a wish her husband possibly honored. Now Katie, Maddie, and Cardi, each of them desperate to protect the man they love, are crossing paths in an investigation that's uncovering more poisonous secrets in Oakdale than they ever imagined. The means motive suspects are shifting with each new twist, and one of these determined women may not live to see the killer revealed. So there you go. Book number 8. Book number 9, we have Nightfall by Nelson Demille. This is what the book looks like. This is a 2004 copyright, and this is what it's about. Oh. At dusk on July 17, 1996, on a deserted Long Island beach, a man and woman engage in adulterous sex in front of a video camera. Suddenly, a terrible blast lights up in the dark summer sky. TWA Flight 800 has just exploded in midair with 230 souls on board, and the video camera has recorded the last moments of the doomed airliner. 5 years later, the government has declared the crash a result of mechanical failure, but John Corey, an ex-NYPD detective who is now a contract agent with the Federal Anti-Terrorist Task Force, is persuaded by Kate Mayfield, his wife and task force partner, that the case deserves a second look. Kate, a career FBI agent, plays by the rules. Corey plays by no rules but his own. Against long odds and warnings from their superiors, they set out to reopen the case and discover its most crucial piece of evidence. The hunt will lead into a conspiracy at the highest levels, a race toward an exclusive and lethal truth that could be even more horrifying than the crash of Flight 800, when the unthinkable consequences for America and the world with unthinkable. So there you go. Book number 9. And the last book we have, book number 10, is Hardball by Sara. Paretsky. I said the name wrong, sorry. That's what the book looks like. This is a 2009 copyright. This is what it's about. There she is. Isn't she pretty? Okay. Chicago's unique brand of ball is 16-inch slow pitch played by leagues all over the city for more than a century. But in politics and business and in law enforcement, the game is hardball. When Warshawski is asked to find Lamont Gadsden, a man who's been missing for 4 decades, a search, spit it out, that she figured would be futile turns lethal. Old skeletons from the city's racially charged history, as well as hauntingly family secrets, her own and those of elderly sisters who hired her, rise up to brush her back from a plate with a vengeance. To complicate matters, Petra, a young cousin whom VI has never met, arrives from Kansas City to work on a political campaign. It does not take long for the high-spirited yet likable Petra to win over VI's affection. When Petra goes missing after a break-in at the office, VI is determined to find her beloved cousin. As the search to locate Petra becomes more desperate, VI is also having difficulties tracking down Lamont Gadsden. Unable to catch a break, she learns that a nun who marched with Martin Luther King Jr. has died before she can reveal crucial evidence. VI herself almost dies in a blazing fire, and new information has emerged about her father's role in a politically, racially charged trial almost 40 years ago. Afraid to rediscover that her adored father might have been a bent cop, VI takes the investigation all the way to its frightening end. So there you go. All 10 books cleaned and checked, because that's what I do with my used bookstore. And if you're interested in any of these, they're $3 a piece. I post them in my Etsy store as a special order, and you come and pick them up. And with that, thank you for spending your time with me, whatever time zone you're in. I hope you're having a great one, and I'll see you soon. Bye.